Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the Godox LC500R RGB LED light stick. Thanks for watching. If you're new to our channel, we're actually a photographic and video equipment store based out of Sydney, Australia. We unbox and review so many different photographic and video lighting equipment such as Godox or Aputure. So feel free to subscribe to our channel if you want to see more videos just like this. Also drop a like if this video has helped you in any way, and leave a comment down below your thoughts or if you have any questions about the Godox LC500R. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Hypop and visit our website, hypop.com.au. Let's get into it. So I've got with me the Godox LC500R RGB LED light stick here. This is Godox's latest addition to their continuous lighting range. They had a previous model, which was the LC500R, and that one there is just a bicolor light. So this one here is an RGB light. It's exciting because it's RGB, and that's always fun. There's a lot of features to this light, including a remote control. So just to go through some of these features and specifications listed here in the box. Firstly, it's got a CRI rating of 96+. It also has a lux reading at 1 meter of 5,800 lux. It has a wireless remote control, which is great. You have brightness adjustment from 0 to 100%. And you've also got a built-in lithium ion battery, which means that you can charge this up and you don't have to worry about having separate batteries and chargers and things like that. And it's also got lighting effects. So we'll take a closer look and unbox this and see what's inside. So a lot of the time we're actually receiving these products for the first time and we haven't actually had a look at them. We've obviously got all the details about them that are posted up online on Godox's website. So when Godox send products to us or when we order products from Godox, usually this is like the first time we're actually unboxing them and opening them. So it's always exciting for us to go through these new products. Here we have it. So we've got a case, and you can see there it's got Godox and it's got the model number LC500R. It's made from like a gray material and also has a little carry handle here. It's good that a case is included because it's just easy for transportation or for storage. Now at the top here, we've got a few pieces of documentation. You've got the remote control, which is called the RCR9. And you've also got the LC500 instruction guide. You've also got the Godox warranty card and just the QC pass card. And we've got the charger here. So this charger here is just a 100 to 240 volt charger. So you'll have different ones for the different regions that you'll be using lighting or wherever you purchase it from. It's a 16.8 volt charger with 1.2 amps. You've also got the wireless remote control, which is quite large. Looks like there's a few presets here, so we'll take a closer look at that remote control shortly. And lastly is just the light itself. So there we have it. It's got barn doors already attached to the light, which is similar to the LC500, and it's black in design, and it's pretty much the same size as the LC500, the first model. So let's take a closer look at the menu and some of the features of the light. So jumping into the physical features of the light here, you can see it actually is a light stick shape. It has barn doors already attached to it. Now the good thing about the barn doors are that you can actually adjust them and reposition them to the back side, which we'll look at shortly. So on the front side here, you have all the RGB LED bulbs. On the back side here, you have the bicolor LED bulbs. Now the bicolor range is 2500 Kelvin to 8500 Kelvin, and that's quite a large range, which is great because usually when you're actually at the midpoint, which is going to be about 5500 Kelvin, all of the LEDs will actually be on. So that means you're receiving maximum output when you're on the 5500 Kelvin daylight for this particular light. Now, on the bottom here, we're actually just using a small 1/4 inch thread stand here. It's not included, unfortunately, as part of the package, and there's no sort of light stand bracket or anything. But the good thing about this light is that there are 1/4 inch threads at the bottom here, one at the bottom and one at the top. So that means you can mount them on boom arms, you can have them positioned horizontally just like this or vertically, and there are mounting points for them. But it would be good if there were some sort of like ball head bracket or something where you can actually position this onto a light stand and then, you know, move the light out around wherever you want. But overall, you know, like that's a great thing that they've included. It's the same as their previous models, so the LC500 had the same mounting points. And on the front here, you can see it's actually just really easy to control. There's not many buttons or dials. There's literally just a single button in the middle and a circle dial, which scrolls through the different menu options on the screen there. On the back, you've got the charging port here. So you just plug that in to charge. There's no area to remove the battery, so the batteries aren't replaceable. But it's a lithium ion battery inside, so generally they last quite long, as long as you're treating them well and charging them all the time. So now to actually remove the barn doors, what you need to do is just hold it quite firmly at the hand grip here and push the two bottom parts there of the plastic, there's just two little raised parts here that you can actually push, and that releases the barn doors like that. You just need to be careful, don't push it too hard, because you know, it might damage the plastic. This is actually just made from plastic, so you need to be careful there. Then when you're actually wanting to reposition, there's small little notches there that line up to the bottom here of the barn doors, and I've reversed the actual barn doors so you can utilize them for the bicolor side here of the LEDs. Now, jumping in on how to use this particular light with the remote control. Firstly, you need to turn the light on, and that's just the top button here on the dial. You hold that down for about 3 seconds and that turns on there. So once you've turned it on, all you need to do is just hit the power button there, and that controls the power of the light. So the light itself is actually still on. You can see that with the LCD screen here, but you're actually just turning off the LEDs when you're using the remote control here. Now, running through some of the buttons on the top here, the top buttons control the different modes that this light has. So there's effects, which is the special effects, CCT, which is the color temperature, and also the HSL or RGB, which controls the other side of the light also. So you can see that's turned on the RGB side. Now there's also a wireless button at the top here, which is the very first button. Not too sure why they have a wireless button. So when you press the wireless button there, it actually just jumps into the channel group menu. You obviously wouldn't want to turn off the wireless mode because that means the remote won't be able to talk to the light. There's no real point in having that besides maybe just jumping into the wireless menu there and then changing the channel and group. Quickly running through the other buttons, you've got like a little dial here. It's like a D-pad dial with the up, down, left, right, and also the function button and just the dimmer as well. So there's a dimming button there. You can see it actually dims down the light. Now it acts a little bit funny because if you hold down on the dimmer, it actually speed increases or decreases the intensity. So I've just jumped up. You can see that's jumped up. You can also go down in single steps as well, which isn't as obvious. So right now I'm on 35, and as I'm pressing it, it's going down to 34, 33, 32, or you can hold it and then that's just jumped straight to 18. There's more of an obvious decrease in intensity there, and we'll increase the intensity there a little bit. And they have presets here also of color temperatures, which is the 3200 Kelvin. So that jumps to 3200 Kelvin, 5600 Kelvin, and also 6500 Kelvin. And then on the bottom here, a neat feature is they have presets for the RGB side. So they've got red, green, blue, yellow, pink, violet, and orange, which is great. Let me see if that just jumps into, yep. So you can see I've pressed that and that's red. You got presets for these colors also. Green, blue, cyan, magenta, yellow, pink, violet, and orange. So quick presets there, so you're not having to mess around with the 360 different colors that you can achieve with this light when you're in HSL mode. So that's great that they've included that. So jumping into the CCT mode there. So as mentioned earlier, this is 2500 Kelvin to 8500 Kelvin. So you got your color temperature orange all the way up to color temperature cool, or pretty much a blue color temperature. And you can see when you go to 5500 Kelvin is when all the LED bulbs are actually on. So that means you're utilizing the full output there because all of the lights are on. On either side of the color temperature range, half of the LEDs turn off there. So that's where you lose a little bit of the intensity. And so that's the color temperature mode. Now going into the RGB mode, which is that side, you have full control of the HSL. So on the actual screen here of the light itself, it's got H and S. So S is your saturation and H is like your HSL code. So that goes from 0 to 360. And when you go to saturation, it actually decreases from 0 to 100 the intensity of that particular color. So you can see it's reducing the orange. Let's make this a little bit more obvious. We'd say red. So that's reducing the saturation of that red color. It's not as red. However, you can put it at 100 there and that makes it a little bit, well, the most intense red that you can get because it's at 100. And then from there, you can jump into the H, which is the HSL wheel. They have a little reference here also, just on the bottom there and also on the bottom of the remote. And that's like a little sort of reference that you can use from 0 to 360. You can see that from 0, it's red. And say if we want to dial in at roughly at about 180, that'll be a blue color there. So let's dial into 180. There we go. So that's the blue color there. But once again, you have the presets on this remote, which make it a lot easier to jump through the different colors. So if I want to whack that on blue, there you go, blue. So that's what it says on the actual light. But on the remote here, if you jump into HSL or RGB, It actually has two modes. You have RGB and you've also got HSL. So HSL matches up to the same menu that's on the screen here of the actual light itself. But you can press a second time, so it has RGB for the actual remote here. So you can actually dial in the RGB numbers to get the number that you need. So if you're referencing RGB colors, you can use the remote control to do that. Now, in terms of the last menu here, we've got the effects, which jumps into all the different special effects this particular light has. So in total, it has 14 different effects, which is great. So it's what we've seen from all other RGB lights, or even just daylights like the Aputure C120D Mark II or the C300D Mark II. A lot of these continuous lights now are starting to get effects, and they're really used for shooting different types of scenes, scenarios. It's great to have that flexibility and versatility from a light rather than just being an RGB light or just a bicolor light. You have these different effects that you can produce, which is great. So the first one there is RGB cycle. Then you've got like a flash mode, you have a fault bulb, you've got lightning, you've also got a strobe mode and a TV mode, and you've got candlelight, you've got campfire. They have little icons here that show what the particular effect is, so you can quickly see that at a glance. Otherwise there's the menu where the actual effects are listed out in the manual there. And you've got like a police mode, ambulance, fire truck, and you've also got like an SOS mode, which is just the pulsating mode there. And lastly, an exciting feature is actually music mode. So music mode will pick up sound around it. So if there's any ambient sound, you can see it's actually flashing now with my voice. But if you actually put this next to a speaker, for example, it's actually going to pick up the music and play along with the music. Now the actual lights themselves are randomized, so you can see it's just flashing a bunch of different colors there. But you do have a couple of different music modes. So some of these effects have alternate versions of them. So in music mode, you have a version 1 and there's a version 2. So version 2 produces like a different effect compared to version 1. You can see version 1's a bit more flashy, and version 2, it's not really turning off as often there. There's an inbuilt microphone that this actual light has, and that's how it picks up all the ambient sound around it, which is a great feature. There's so many different ways that you can use that. If you're filming music videos, for example, it'd be really great to have some of the music playing in the background and the lights obviously going off to that. Godox have like a great promo vid of this particular light, and they're using that in a music video shoot. So you can have a closer look at that on Godox's channel. So just a quick demo on the menu and how to use the buttons here. Firstly, just turning on the light, so holding down at the top there. I've currently got it on effects mode, so let's swap the mode into bicolor. Now you can see it's a spin wheel here, and that on this particular mode changes the color temperature. And you can also press right, which is the dim button, and that controls intensity. So you can see the flashing number there, increases and decreases the intensity from 0, which is a true 0 and completely off, up to 100%. Now, the cool thing about this particular light is you can press down on the center button and it actually has a boost mode. So you can see there is a slight boost there to the light, which is great. So if you're actually at 100%, if you go full output, it has a boost mode for 60 seconds, I believe it is. So just pressing that, and that leaves it on a boost mode. It's obviously going to drain the battery a lot faster. However, you can use this sparingly if you're in a low light situation, just want that boost of light. It's perfect to use in that situation. Now at the bottom here, you can see there's a mode button, and that mode button just cycles through the RGB, the effects, and back to color temperature. And lastly is just the channel group here. So you can see channel group ID. Now ID is used for setting an ID for this particular device. So this single light here, so you can set it to ID 25, and perhaps you have another light that's set to like ID 17, so that way you're not having interference with other devices around you. In most cases, as a default setting, it's actually off, but it is good practice to actually set an ID for each of your lights. And lastly is that wireless mode on or off. So if you actually head into that mode there and switch it to off, you won't be able to use the remote control. I'm not too sure why you do that. Maybe there is some interference happening and that's why you don't want it on, but having it on is probably the default setting, just so you can use the remote control there. Now I'm using the remote control. So yeah, that's just really how easy it is to control. In terms of pricing, the LC500R retails for about 440 Australian dollars, or about 239 US dollars. Now I've got a couple of other RGB lights, well not RGB lights, ice sticks here. So this is the very first LC500, which is bicolor. And you can see in terms of dimensions, it's actually just a little bit shorter than the new LC500R. That's just to accommodate more output firstly, and also just more LEDs on there for the RGB effects or bicolor effects. Now with the previous LC500R, when you actually turn this on, one side is color temperature orange and the other side is daylight. So you can see it's switching between the two modes there. Whereas the LC500R has your bicolor on one side there and RGB on the other. So they've managed to fit in a lot more features and LED bulbs just in general into the new model there. And I've also got the Yongnuo YN360-2, which is the Mark II version and the RGB version of their iStick. Now this is a popular light because it's quite cheap in comparison. However, you can see it's actually only got one side of LEDs here. So all of the features in terms of the bicolor LEDs and also the RGB LEDs are all on one side. It's a little bit smaller, you can see there. Doesn't include barn doors, so no barn door accessories with this particular one. However, it does have that built-in lithium-ion battery. Now, why would you be getting an RGB light or adding that to your lighting kit? Firstly, RGB lights are just great for creative lighting effects, whether that be for photography or for video. We've taken quite a lot of different RGB type of portraits just to add creative lighting to our shots. So we'll throw them up on screen now. You can have a look at some of those. There's so many different colors that are available from that 360-degree palette, the 360 colors you can choose from, but you have different levels of those colors as well. So you actually can reduce the saturation. So you have limitless colors available from the RGB light. The fact that it has a bicolor side with that large range, perfect to use for videos and also for photos. Its unique shape as well, the fact that it's a light stick means it's quite tall and it offers a widespread and it's suitable for like portraits. You can also use this for product photography. We use it as an accent light, so you can see behind me here, we have RGB lights. We've got some lights at the bottom and also one behind me. So RGB lights have a lot of practical uses. It means that you can actually use them in different scenarios, whether it be for photos or for videos. So that was just a quick review on the Godox LC500R. For more videos just like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to be updated of any new videos we release. Also, drop a like if this video has helped you in any way. Leave a comment down in the comment section below your thoughts on the LC500R, or if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Follow us on social media at HiPop and visit our website, hipop.com.au. Thanks for watching.